everyone, this is Mark Rhodes. It's time for another 3 Questions With. We're doing the first one of 2021. If you haven't watched before, I spent a few minutes talking with community leaders from around the world, actually, and just talking to them about their involvement with the community and getting to know them a little bit better. So here we go with Erik Hougaard. Erik, welkom om tag voor du kom middag.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Was that even close? Please say yes.
That was so far away that I decided just to ignore it.
Well, you knew at least enough of what I was saying, maybe. I don't know. I took a shot. It's for everybody who is completely lost at this point. That was my attempt at Danish, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But Erik is one of the managing partners at Foqus Canada and has been a 8-time MVP, has lived in several countries and just
7, I think.
Seven, but all around fascinating guy. And if you don't believe any of that, just take a look at his bookcases behind him and enjoy the Museum of Technology he's got going on there. So Erik, hey, again, thanks for joining. Are you ready to dive in with 3 questions?
Well, shoot.
Fantastic. Okay, so I always open it up with asking about your company and what you do there. We actually had your partner on a couple of months ago, Lars, and so he talked about Foqus Canada, but you could go ahead and tell the viewers again, who is Foqus Canada, and then what do you do there?
So Foqus Canada is a Business Central partner. Foqus Canada shared a name with a Danish company called Foqus that I used to work for. I moved to Canada 6.5 years ago and kind of bootstrapped the Canadian operation, and lots of things happened. So now Foqus Canada has nothing to do with Denmark anymore. There is no Foqus Denmark anymore. That got sold. So Foqus Canada is managed by Lars and myself. Mm-hmm. And we kind of focus on 2 things. You spoke a lot with Lars about selling Business Central to customers and doing projects with Business Central. But another branch of the company and perhaps the branch that has the most interest from my perspective is our app business.
Right.
So we develop apps that are sold in App Source, or mm-hmm. distributed in App Source at least, because you cannot buy things in App Source. That's another discussion. And that has been that's very interesting, because for the first time, and I've been in the nav business since it started, when it was IBM as Navigator in 1990. I was fresh out of high school and somehow got a programming job there. It was a different time. Yeah. But for the first time, we have a platform where you can sell your products on, and there's a delivery method with extensions and all that. So that's quite interesting, and we're doing some interesting apps. I have to say that, of course. We have a SharePoint product, the SharePoint connector, that, from my perspective, really, really well integrates data in Business Central mm-hmm. with SharePoint without having to force methods and dictate how things should be, but still help you a lot with that. We have another app, the Advanced Cloud Security, that brings that extra level of security settings where you can turn fields on and off on the screen. On any screen, you can turn actions on and off, and you can apply user-specific filters to data. So like one user can see some vendors and another user can see other vendors, or you can see part of the GL but not the entire GL, and all that stuff. That's quite interesting. And the latest one that we're trying to get a bit of traction about is called the advanced account schedules.
Excellent.
Which is account schedules like you guys love the account schedules.
Love them.
But it has there's one big problem with account schedules is that you can only show GL numbers in it. But in any company, lots of the KPIs that you have in the company are built from more than pure GL numbers. It might be numbers from the AR, numbers from the AP. It might be inventory numbers. It might be counts of things. How many invoices in a year? How many something? And the advanced account schedules can pull any number anywhere from BC, wow, whether it's in base app or from another extension, so can pull any number and put that into an account schedule, and then you can use that to create the true KPIs. So the account schedules can be more complete than instead of having, you get all the GL numbers out of the account schedule, you go into Excel, and then you finish up the job.
Right.
So that's an app that I have great hopes about because I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, fantastic. I think everybody has already figured out if you want to participate in a pretty interesting conversation, the next time we're at an event when we can start doing those things again, pull Erik aside, buy him a beer. He's got a lot of history and a lot of stories to tell. So,
and not too many beers.
Hey, and I wanted to ask you about your book too. So for those of you who don't know, Erik has a tremendously popular book out there. He released a year and a half ago called the Dynamics 365 Business Central Field Guide. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, always handy.
And I think a lot of people always are interested, but writing a book like that, it's an impressive undertaking. What was the experience like for you? Did you enjoy it? What'd you learn out of it?
Well, I learned a lot, but I think the interesting story here is that for me it's not a book because it's basically book as a service, because the target for the book is Business Central, and Business Central is ever evolving, and writing a physical book, the shelf life on that is pretty short now, because every 6 months there's a new major release.
Right.
So the way the book is done after the initial lot of work is that it's basically like, okay, I find a new subject that needs to be covered, so I write something that's closely related, to a blog post, but that just goes into the book. People who have bought the book can just download the new version and get the updates. So it's book as a service, and I keep updating it. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting, and I hope that more people will get on that train, because in reality it's not only Business Central, it's everything that's in the cloud. It's evolving so fast that books you have, and I don't know if you can see any other books here, but the shelf life on stuff like that is getting really short. Right. I was talking to a guy yesterday who have done tons of books, and they're on .NET Core version 3, but now .NET Core 5 is out, and basically all those books has to be rewritten, right? Which is fine for him, because then he can sell again. But the people who bought that book is basically it's done. It's old news.
I love that concept. Really well said. Yeah, very interesting. And I'd encourage anybody watching to go ahead and check that out. And as Erik said, you can subscribe to get the updates as the new versions of Business Central come out, so you can keep up to date with that. So, Erik, okay, so you're helping to run a business, you're developing these apps, you're keeping up with your field guide. I know you've been at the forefront of the whole transition from CAL to AL, in terms of the business development architecture and infrastructure. How do you keep track of all this? How's that transition been going for you? It's a lot to do.
Yeah, thanks God, I'm just stuck here in my basement every day, so there's lots of time for projects. But I think it's weird because there was a period of time in the long lifespan of I'm just going to say dynamics, where nothing changed. You could, as a person in the channel, you could come to work every day and be just as productive as the day before without learning anything new. Because nothing new happened, and the product was basically the same for years.
Yeah.
But I have always been the tech is my lifeblood. That's what I love to tinker with, whether it's old computers or new computers, or a lot of the stuff I do on my YouTube channel is poking around and see if you can what's possible, and some of my videos are me demonstrating a fail, meaning that I tried to do something and I didn't accomplish, but I think there's still something to be learned from the journey in it. One of the projects that I'm working on way too much right now, if you ask my wife, is the concept of an AL compiler. So we have the language AL, and Microsoft has supplied a wonderful compiler. It's really, really cool, and we're not able to improve that because it's really, really good. But the concept of having dynamic AL, so inside Business Central, could express certain things in code, would be quite interesting. But in order for that to happen, you need to have a compiler. And for those, I know that this is getting very technical, so let me explain for the few viewers we still have left at this point, that the compiler is the translator that takes programming language, if then something, do, while, and turn that into zeros and ones for the computer to actually execute that, which is a fairly complicated process. But I've been working on a AL compiler written in AL so that I can have AL code inside Business Central dynamically that I can execute inside AL, and it works actually. It works quite well.
Wow.
But it gives us options. One example could be the workflows. That if you're working with the workflows inside Business Central, describing the rules can sometimes be quite difficult, and there are certain rules that you really cannot describe, because from a logic perspective you end up in if this then or and there's a lot of logic operations. But if you had the option of just typing the logic expression in there, you could have any combination of it, and the complexity is as complex as you want it to. And the plan is to use this compiler component in places like that.
Right.
And many others. But the tech is what drives me, and I'm always looking to see if I can break stuff.
So you must be enjoying this period then, because certainly a lot of technological change to get your arms around and enjoy. So you must be a happy guy right now.
Well, I wouldn't mind be allowed outside once in a while these days. I miss playing music. It's that's one of the things we didn't talk about. But right now, I have not played a concert since March.
Oh my! Oh, you definitely got to miss that. Yes.
But at some point,
as so many of us miss going out and hearing music. Yeah.
yeah.
Right there with you. Fantastic. Well, I won't keep you any longer, Erik. Always fascinating to speak with you. Certainly appreciate the time. I know you've been busy, a busy day and all of that, but great to spend some time with you. Thank you.
Anytime, Mark. You just call.
Excellent. Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoy this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see when we post our next one, next 3 questions with, and appreciate you watching. Everybody, enjoy. Stay safe out there. We'll see you soon.